Do you really need time tracking for your virtual assistants or remote team? A lot of founders swear by it, but others say that it kills trust. The truth? It actually depends on how you use it. And in this video, we're gonna talk about that. I'm Carla Singson of Proximity Outsourcing, and I have spent a decade of helping over 500 agencies and online business owners grow their businesses through top-tier remote talent from the Philippines and Latin America. Of course, I want to preface by sharing and saying that this video is not sponsored by High Level, but I do love High Level, and we place a lot of really amazing project managers, client success managers, and high-level funnel builders in our company. So if high level is something that your company uses, I think it's time to have a conversation on how we can help you get some of the best high-level talent in the Philippines and in Latin America. So back to our topic, let's talk about time tracking. There's a lot of debates on whether this is important, whether I should do this, and a lot of newbie business owners are really confused if they should do it or not. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 points to consider whether you should do time tracking or not, and I will also personally give you my recommendation. Number 1 is always have clear hours and communication windows. Now, I know a lot of people hire remote team workers from overseas, and they would have an agreement on how many hours that person works in a week. So they would have maybe a contract that says they work for 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 30 or 40 hours a week for full time. But then sometimes they wouldn't have an agreement about what hours the work hours should be. So maybe some companies don't really require you to do a full 9 to 5. Maybe they want you to break your work hours into 2 time zones. Maybe you're a client success manager and you serve clients from 2 different time zones, so maybe you have to split your time. But there's different situations. My recommendation is you should have clear hours when someone should work, and these hours should be reflected in the contract. The reason why I really recommend this is so that it is clear what times during the day that person should be clearly working on your business alone. So this is so you can avoid any confusion or mismatch expectation on how long someone should take before they reply to your message, or if they're online on Slack. So this sets a particular expectation on when you can expect a reply from someone or when you can expect something to get done. So my recommendation is always have your remote team work in the time zone that you're comfortable in, that basically is the best time zone for your business. So I grew up in the Philippines, and a lot of my team is based in the Philippines, and they almost all of them work night shift. It is because most of our clients are based in the US and in Canada, and it's just easier for our clients that they work at night. Now, I know that some people might think, oh my God, that would be horrible for their health, but honestly, it's a case-to-case basis. If you didn't know, the Philippines has a huge BPO or business process outsourcing boom since 2001, and this opened a lot of opportunities for Filipinos to work night shift and get paid up to 2 times as what they would have been paid for an entry-level job. And the best part is, I remember when this was happening in the Philippines, is a lot of fresh graduates from college were getting paid so well, and they stayed in these jobs. They started getting promoted, they started to also get trained and get upskilled, and now a lot of my personal friends actually have very high ranks in companies like Google, Meta, and other similar companies because they were early in the BPO boom. Now, what happens in someone's lifestyle if this is your life for such a very long time? A lot of them have just worked night shift for more than half of their lives. So they have an opposite time. It's just like night shift nurses. They would typically share to me that they find it difficult to sleep at night, and they also prefer being able to just have the day to themselves or do their daily errands with less people in the grocery store or at the gym. And so for some people, it might not work, but for these particular set of people, they actually prefer working night shift, or maybe they have a very special arrangement in their family, and it's just better for them that one of the mom or the dad, one of them would work night shift. So it really is a case-to-case basis. But what I'm trying to say is that as long as you select properly and you select people that have been in this lifestyle for a long time, they don't have to sacrifice a lot for their health. They can take certain supplements, they can still work out, and they can still take vitamin D supplements or something. But just like in my company, we take good care of our team. We provide a lot of healthcare and wellness benefits, and we make sure that they're taken care of. So that's the long monologue on time zones. I also have another video on time zones and communication. So definitely hit like, hit subscribe, and look for that video so that you can learn more about how to work with people in different time zones. So my tip number 2 about time tracking is set up a work channel and an after hours channel. So bear in mind, I'm not saying that you should not have boundaries or that you should expect your remote professional or virtual assistant to communicate with you even outside their hours. But this is just to set the expectations that during someone's work hours, we communicate using the official work communication channels, Slack, Discord, Google, or whatever you're using in your company, including your project management platform like maybe Asana, Trello, ClickUp, whatever you're using, right? And so the design is you have that set expectation to communicate in these channels during official work hours that you previously agreed on. And then in case there's something urgent, they can also reach you in certain after hours channels. So usually this would be an instant messaging platform like Messenger on Facebook, or for me, I personally use WhatsApp. So for my team, I set an expectation, hey, for communication, if we're at work during your work hours, let's communicate here. And if you have something to say and I'm not online or it's outside my working hours or your working hours, you don't need to log in. If it's really important, let's be able to reach each other through instant messaging. So obviously, this will breed a particular culture of trust, and there should also be mutual respect that goes both ways, that you won't abuse this type of access. And typically, this is not really a big problem in a lot of the companies that I work with, and even my own company, because it's just very simple respect. It's just the principle of respect. So having these channels make it easier and make it also useful so that you're not watching the time tracker all the time. So tip number 3 is time tracking is a clarification tool and not a control tool. So now I'm going to reveal my recommendation. And my recommendation is definitely yes, you should time track your team. You should use certain platforms in time tracking such as Hubstaff, Time Doctor, WorkSnaps, and I think ClickUp even has their own time tracking mechanism, which is also tied to the project management platform. But what I want you to think about is that time tracking is not there so you can micromanage your people. In the first place, we all know that no one wakes up in the morning and dreams or is excited to time track people. So between the boss and the employee or the supervisor and the subordinate, no one wants to watch the time tracking platform like all the time, but it is there for clarification. For example, did you work this day or were you on PTO? Sometimes people forget, right? Sometimes people don't mark it in other people's calendar that they're on PTO, or maybe they forgot to turn on their out of office email, and that's just a simple mistake, right? It's not something that you should get, fired because you didn't turn on your out of office email one time. So that's definitely a forgivable sin, I would say. But being able to see and check if someone is working or if someone worked that day or how long it took for someone to finish a certain task, or if HR has a question on did someone already use up all of their PTOs and maybe this leave should be an unpaid vacation. So time tracking is really useful in checking all of these things. And sometimes, especially in my industry in outsourcing, sometimes a client would have a complaint and they would be like, hey, I'm not sure if Carla is even working. I gave her this task, but she hasn't finished it yet. And so that's a time when our client success manager, basically the account manager that's managing that account, managing that client, would look into the time tracking tool and clarify and confirm the truth, basically. So it really helps protect both parties. And if that person is actually working on it and is just taking a little bit of time because of a mismatched expectation, the client probably thinks it just takes you to finish this project for 2 hours, but it actually took you 5 hours. So now as the employee or as the subordinate, you can say, hey, I actually have been working on this. You can see it on my time tracking. And this is just a much, much more difficult project than you think. So it really helps. Conversations like this helps because tip number 4, links time tracking to deliverables and output. So you are doing time tracking not so you can be a hawk and say, hey, did you clock in? Did you clock in? So time tracking is not for that. But time tracking is also to monitor efficiency in your company and looking at certain tasks and also improving in a way that once you see this data of, oh, it took you that much time to edit like this YouTube video, how can we do it better, right? So time tracking actually offers operations an opportunity to make things more efficient because whatever is in the time tracker, it is data, and it is data that you cannot really rebut. It's just there. It is the truth. So this is why I fully recommend time tracking. And tip number 5, and this is the most important. As the owner and as the leader in your company, build a culture of transparency and respect. So once you onboard your team member and you as the leader, you should also be an example of transparency and respect. Asking questions respectfully if you doubt them, if you doubt if they did their job, if you doubt if they clocked in or not. Ask respectfully, trust and verify. And most of all, give everyone a pep talk once you hire them in your company that, hey, I specifically chose you among all of the candidates because I believe in your intelligence and I believe in the contribution that you can bring to my vision. So give them that feeling of trust, that feeling of, hey, I'm not here to like micromanage you and watch over your shoulder and treat you like a child, but I'm here to trust you and to listen to you if you have any feedback. And it is also important to even have the time tracking conversation with them. Like, hey, we have a time tracker in my company and these are the reasons why. And you can tell them all of the reasons that I shared in this video and also open their eyes into believing that the time tracking is also there, not just to protect them, but also to set proper expectations and also to reward them properly, especially if they've done overtime or if they have suggestions to make things more efficient operationally. So at the end of the day, time tracking is not about spying on your own teammates or micromanaging them or behaving like a prison guard. So time tracking is there to provide clarity in the efficiency of your operations and to also properly acknowledge and reward people who's doing a great job. And of course, if problems arise, it is a great tool for clarification and to deliver justice, I guess. So that's it. I hope that you learned a lot from this video. If you like this video and if it made you think and if you want to learn more about how to hire amazing talent from the Philippines and Latin America and how to grow your business through outsourcing, definitely hit like, hit subscribe, and you'll get a fresh new video every Friday in this YouTube channel.